surprise on Saturday morning when I think 30-plus cars pulled up that hadn't registered yet, and everyone was welcoming them and happy to see them. So,
are you serious? 30 cars rolled up on the day of the event?
I mean, they had a good sign-up, but they were worried that it might be a little bit light. It wasn't, but when 30 more cars pulled in, it certainly wasn't.
Well, Paul Belfay had his celebration up at Northeast Speedway a little further up the road on Route 18 there, and he even said, boy, it's a bummer. He says, I wanted to go to that, but...
Yeah. I ended up making it to that, too. And then our 8-year-old got a chance to go around the track at the Waterford Speedway. So.
Oh, he was one of the many that did that?
Yeah. So it was quite the weekend. And that's why I'm late, because I had to drop him off at NVU for their basketball camp. And coming down College Road, I was
the construction.
My timing was so impeccable, and they were at the top yesterday when I dropped him off. So I thought I'll come to the lower lot and pull off there, and I'll be fine. No, it was right under the bridge where they're working today. So I sat there just kind of tapping my fingers like, come on, guys, come on. I gotta go. So sorry I'm late.
That's all right. We put that up. Actually, Steve Parker, a friend of ours, shared that when we put up the VTrans Road Report.
Yeah.
So how many people have you got, if you can remember off the top of your head, all part of NEK Can?
Oh, my gosh, for volunteers that are helping us. So our board consists of 9 people. So we have 4 officers and 5, is it 9 people? Yeah, I think it's 9 people. I'm having a hard time. See, my brain's scattered, Jeff.
That's okay.
But then we have really a ton of other folks who help with the events and the marketing, but we're always looking for more help. So nekcan.org, go to our website, go to our Facebook page. You can email any one of us. My email, I think, is mike.barrett@nekcan.org. We're always looking for people to be volunteers to help us out with future events.
Well, we shared the photo links up on our Facebook page, and they're just a great turnout.
Yeah.
Great turnout.
Very excited.
Check.
It's a community-based local group to help folks that are battling cancer, not just they themselves, but their family members, so they can be together in these tough times.
There's a lot going on. There's difficult decisions that need to be made. We want to be able to help out with some of the costs associated by helping with grants. So it's a work in progress. We're still in the very early fundraising grassroots stage of our process. And once we start getting to an appropriate amount of funds, then we can start the distribution process. So
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. What else would you like to talk about this morning?
So this morning, let's talk about classic cars and insuring them, because we were talking about a car
timely.
show. Yeah. So, some of those cars this weekend, I mean, we're talking some incredible value to these vehicles, right? So you want to make sure you have them insured correctly. So there's companies out there like Haggerty and J.C. Taylor, very well-known antique, classic, modified car insurance companies. And the thing that you want to consider is if you have a car that's 25 plus years old in great shape, there's probably a value associated with most of them that's going to be beyond what the normal valuation on an auto is. Now, think about it. Like your car, my truck, all the vehicles in the lot right now outside, just regular cars, the value for those vehicles based on actual cash value. So it's based on, a depreciated value from MSRP to factor in the wear, tear, and miles and condition of the vehicle. You're taking impeccable care, restoring and babying these beautiful classic cars. You want to make sure you're accounting for them. Some of these cars could be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000 in value. Make sure you have them with a company that's writing them based on that value.
I think that most of the guys and gals that do put a lot of their time and money into these classic vehicles realize that they're never going to get their investment back.
It's a passion.
But they want it covered.
It needs protection.
We reference Wes and I quite a bit here, that beautiful red Skylark, Studebaker Lark that cruises around. I mean, this family could have probably dumped $50,000 or more into that vehicle.
Right.
The odds of getting the $50,000.
Yeah, if you're selling it, it's certainly hard. From a loss settlement standpoint, you want to make sure that you're insuring it for that, because there's a high likelihood that you'll be able to restore the car if it's not a total loss, or maybe even get a car similar.
Now, these cars aren't daily drivers, so I'm going to reference my friend Ray McCoy, who a few years back had one of the most tragic things happen. His storage garage collapsed under the heavy snow and damaged a dozen classic vehicles.
Were they covered by the garage?
Covered very well, as a matter of fact, right down to the floor.
Nice. But the cars, were they covered?
He did have some insurance on them, but once again, didn't get all of it, but at least something. So
Beautiful.
Whether they're driving them or whether they're sitting, something can happen to them.
That's the big thing, right? I mean, if you have a car, and companies like Haggerty, you can even insure them while they're being restored. So there's a value to those vehicles during the restoration process as well. So you can have a dialogue with us and we can figure out a way to properly insure them. But if you have a car that you're in the restoration process that's not even on the road, there are options to cover that vehicle.
And not just cars and trucks, but classic motorcycles out there. Somebody may have an old classic Norton or an Indian or even a
classic
Honda
boat
CB250 or whatever.
Classic boats too, or even antique or classic fire trucks are available to be insured with some companies.
There are some of those around.
Because you think about it, what's your use of those vehicles? You talked about it. They're not daily drivers. These are vehicles that are being used to go to car shows, to be in parades, to be driven on beautiful sunny days with no chance of precipitation. So there's the law of averages is in the favor of those vehicles because they're not on the road so much. So they're very cost effective to insure.
I'm going to make light of this as we get ready to wrap it up. But if you want to see what can happen on the way to and from a car show, just go to YouTube and type in how not to leave a car show. See what happens there.
A couple of burnouts gone bad. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. Tell them how they get in touch with you.
Sure. Give us a call, 748-5224. We're located on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Online, thebarrettagency.com. Google, Facebook, and YouTube. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
And again, we thank everybody that sponsors and helps out Northeast Kingdom Cancer Action Network. And we thank all of you diligent volunteers for making this happen.
Love to roll up our sleeves and help.
George Harrison coming up on Magic